Ladies and gentlemen, as we prepare for bout number 3, I'd like to introduce, in the red corner, weighing in at 123 pounds, fighting out of Camp Springs, Maryland, his professional record 11-0 with 9 knockouts, the Fighting Irishman Jolt'n Joe Fitzpatrick. And in the blue corner, weighing in at 128 pounds, fighting out of Schenectady, New York, with a professional record of 7-4-1 with 5 knockouts, Sean Powell. This bout is scheduled for 8 rounds.
They talked about 8.
This bout will be scheduled for 6 rounds. 6 rounds.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Sheldon, Frank Schofield, Steve Urban ringside with you once again. And I'm looking at the stats of these 2 fighters coming up, and I'm excited. This is going to be 6 rounds of some of the best boxing that we are going to see anywhere. Steve Urban, right?
That's correct. Yeah, I certainly agree with that. The Sean Powell, coming in from Schenectady, hasn't fought since January. So this will be certainly interesting to see how he does.
Well, Frank Schofield, if you look at Joe Fitzpatrick's record, if you're going strictly by the numbers, we're talking 11-0, and 9 of those are knockouts. And you're pitting that against the fighter that has a 7-5-1 record with 5 of those 7 wins being knockouts. We're going to see some tremendous punching from both of these fighters.
And in this weight class, it's really going to be interesting to see how these 2 pair up.
One thing I noticed about Sean Powell, as soon as he comes out of the ring, notice how he's holding his hands. His body is open, his face is open, and he's not squared off as much as he should be. We're looking at a good opening for a nice left jab or possibly an uppercut combination here. I'm not quite sure if that's a strategy to throw Joe Fitzpatrick off base or what, but evidently it seems to be working, but it's only in the first round. We've got 5 more rounds to go, at least, to see how this strategy works.
Not much feeling each other out. They seem to both be just going right at each other.
This is true. One thing I noticed about Sean Powell, even just the way he's holding his hands, it looks as though at the very start he's fighting himself by his hand position, Steve Urban.
Yeah, the one thing I'm noticing is that he has his hands so far out. It reminds me a lot of when the Irish boxing team, when they boxed here in Harrisburg back in 1984. Very typical of the boxers from there.
And if you go back into the boxing history, that's very indicative. If he were to turn his palms upward, you would see perhaps a style that's reminiscent of the likes of the Sullivans of the era.
John L. Sullivan, the heavyweight. Yep,
dynamic fighter. Used to have his hands open and extended pretty much like fighter Sean Powell is doing. And, of course, Joe Fitzpatrick, the Fighting Irishman, wearing the blue shorts. The blue, of course, a reference to the blue and gold of Notre Dame, the Fighting Irishman.
Yes. Frank, I was just going to ask, a lot more punches going on in this. Bout.
It seems like Powell's come out. He's kind of undisciplined with his stance. Where you look at Fitzpatrick, he seems to have a rhythm going and a pattern. Where you look at Powell, and he just kind of seems undisciplined with his routine or the way he's even defending himself.
Very unorthodox.
Like there's not much rhythm to it.
Well, that was a nice left jab type uppercut that Joe Fitzpatrick received. Dropped his head back just a tiny bit, and of course, Sean Powell is following up by throwing him on the ropes a bit. One thing I'm noticing is a very effective use of the elbows. When they get in very close, you'll notice that there's a little bit of the rub of the forearm, just to loosen up the skin a bit.
Yeah, when you get tied up like that and you're all wrapped in, it's easy to get in a quick elbow here or a shoulder drop or anything else that's going on that's outside of the ref's control.
And I'm not quite sure if perhaps it's Sean Powell's body color or what, but he's looking mighty pink in this very, very first round. Could that possibly be from so many body shots from the Fighting Irishman?
It could be.
Right now they're back in the corner on the ropes, and there's the bell, the end of the first round of 6 rounds of fighting between Sean Powell from Schenectady, New York, and Joe Fitzpatrick, the Fighting Irishman from Camp Springs, Maryland. Sean Powell, of course, with a professional record of 7-5-1, 5 of those being knockouts, and Joe Fitzpatrick, the Fighting Irishman.
That's the end of round 1, and I'm proud to introduce to you once again, Monique.
And, of course, the crowd going a little bit wild for the round card girl. One of the many attractions brought to you by Stephen Urban Productions, the best in professional fighting in the central Pennsylvania area. We're here at the Holiday Inn in New Cumberland, Pennsylvania for 24 rounds of professional boxing, brought to you, of course, by Stephen Urban. Dynamic boxing.
You look over in the corner of Sean Powell, you can see his face is starting to swell up. Very unorthodox the way he comes in. Not many routines, or he's not staying in the same discipline, and that could hurt him in the long run. When you look at Fitzpatrick, he seems to be in control, just hanging out, just waiting to see what happens.
That's a good observation. I certainly agree with that.
And already, if you'll notice, Frank Schofield, Steve Urban, he comes out, his arms are still open. Perhaps his corner man told him to close his hands up a little bit, but if I've seen correctly, I'm seeing those hands drop a little bit lower from the face. Could that be that first round has made him so tired in that fighting style that we're going to see perhaps one heck of a knockout coming up in a couple of rounds?
One of the things you can see here, Michael, is the fact that Sean Powell putting that left hand down around his knee, dropping it all the way down past his waist several times here as he's moving close. There he did it again.
Well, I know that style was reminiscent during the Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay days when they would
Yes,
drop the hands and bring them in, kind of do the sucker punch or the rope-a-dope. But I question whether Sean Powell has that sort of a strategy, and if he does, whether he has the ability to back that strategy up. And, of course, the Fighting Irishman now backing Sean Powell into the corner.
Powell came out nicely, though, out of that.
Yes, he did. It was a nice duck and slip to the left-hand side, and now perhaps it's Joe Fitzpatrick's turn to go back into his own corner.
Michael, that might have a lot to do with the type of people he's sparring with, too. He's probably getting in a rhythm in the gym of sparring with guys that aren't as experienced as he is. Gives him a tendency to start to drop that hand when he's practicing, and he'll do it when he boxes.
Absolutely. Sean Powell, of course, being very light on his feet in this second round of boxing, brought to you by Stephen Urban Productions. And the Fighting Irishman holding up rather well. I see he's beginning to open up his punches just a little bit. His hands are a little bit wider than his shoulders. He's leading with a little bit of the left now and then. Not too many combinations. Looking for that shot. Not certainly the kind of shots that Gabriel Buzref gave a little bit earlier in the evening, but certainly something with an effect. When he connects with that left jab, you know that you've been hit.
Doesn't look like the Fighting Irishman's been affected by the craziness of everything that Sean Powell's going on.
Absolutely not. And I noticed that the left jab of Sean Powell is coming out a little bit wider now. That might be indicative, Steve, that he's getting tired.
Yes, it certainly is. I don't notice anything, though, in his breathing habits. You don't see him trying to suck for air or anything. He's certainly trying to stay poised, but his hands and his body movements are certainly slowing down.
Very definitely, and I've also seen that he's dropping his shoulder when he delivers that left uppercut. That shoulder's drop. It's a good position. It gives him more power for the punch, but that punch isn't forthcoming as often as it should be.
Right, I agree with that.
Powell's wasting a lot of energy, and Fitzpatrick remains focused through all this.
Tremendous lefts and rights coming out from both fighters. Sean Powell and Joe Fitzpatrick going at each other mano a mano. It is a war in center ring, and of course Sean Powell is not giving up. Body shot after body shot, hook, and jab. Sean Powell, Joe Fitzpatrick going after each other left and right.
Fitzpatrick's going to have to step back. He's walking right into him right now.
I think both fighters in the second round of boxing are getting a little bit tired, and there's the bell for that, and perhaps a good break, Frank Schofield.
A lot of action, a lot of action.
And you can tell that the crowd here at the Holiday Inn appreciates it. They're going wild, and to no effect.
They certainly do.
At
is. Here she is again. It's Dawn.
Dawn Masters, of course, one of the bevy of beauties right here in Stephen Urban Productions that we call upon every now and then.
Have you ever seen the number 3 look so good?
Certainly, as you come to the professional fights, more often you will see Stephen Urban Productions bringing you a touch of class. Our professionalism, our round card girls, even the ringside staff are doing everything the way it should be done so that our audience enjoys themselves to the maximum extent. We have police here to make sure that everything is safe and that nobody gets out of hand. It's just one of the many precautions to make sure that our fight fans enjoy themselves.
We certainly go all out to try to make everyone comfortable.
And here we begin round number 3. Of course, Fitzpatrick coming out, throwing jabs, another jab, and Sean Powell answering with a little bit of a hook and a roundhouse, a little bit too wide though, clinching up, already tired at the beginning of the first round, and Joe Fitzpatrick's helping him out with that clinch, leaning on him, hoping to tiring him out just a little bit more, pushing him into the corner, but Sean Powell will have nothing of it. Answers with a round of 1-2 combinations, a punch here, punch there, they all add up eventually.
Joe Fitzpatrick was caught off at the end of the last round, caught off guard. Powell got a couple shots in, and now it looks like Fitzpatrick's trying to get refocused, and he's having a little bit of time. Powell's making it a little difficult for him, for Fitzpatrick to get refocused.
If there's a comeback kid in round number 3, it's got to be Sean Powell, because he's backing the Fighting Irishman into the ropes, and once he gets him on the ropes, he gives him a shot, 1-2 in the body, trying to tire him out and maybe wear him down just a little bit, open up that defense.
What Fitzpatrick has to do, he has to slow this fight down a little bit and take a little bit more control and let Powell let off a little more steam, a little more energy.
Definitely. Wear him out first. Tire those arms down. But the Fighting Irishman doesn't seem as though that strategy is working. Good delivered left shot. Another 1-2 combination. And answered once again by Sean Powell with a 1-2 combination of his own.
See, this is what Fitzpatrick wants. He wants to slow this baby down. Slow this fight down. He doesn't want to get in a haymaker brawl with Powell here.
I think he's beginning to follow that strategy quite well, because if you notice Sean Powell's, oh, there's a good shot. Another good connection, a right hook to the head. Another right hook to the body. The Fighting Irishman is delivering some dynamic shots. The strategy is working. He's got him, and he's backing Sean Powell into the corner. Sean Powell, of course, is answering. Another shot to the body of the Fighting Irishman. Sean Powell is physically tired. He's wearing down quite quickly here in the beginning of the 3rd round.
There could be something said that, Powell hasn't fought since January. Maybe a little conditioning here.
Very definitely a little bit more conditioning. I just noticed that in that little flurry of fighting that Sean Powell stepped into a dynamic right shot of Joe, the Fighting Irishman, and Fitzpatrick. I predict, Frank Schofield, that this may not be going to the 6 rounds that everybody thinks it's going to be going.
Okie doke.
Particularly if Sean Powell keeps a little bit of blood now coming from the left nostril of Sean Powell. And Joe Fitzpatrick, being the Fighting Irishman, he knows the surgical strike that he's got to bring in there, and he's going to be targeting. He's targeting it. He's moving in.
Yeah. Mentally, that's going to play a part in both fighters. Powell, who has the blood coming, knows he's bleeding, and then Fitzpatrick also sees he's bleeding. Mental edge both ways.
He answered it quite well, though. He's given some good left jabs to the Fighting Irishman, but the Fighting Irishman is not giving up, concentrating on that left nostril. More blood coming out. Sean Powell had nothing of it, ladies and gentlemen. And that is the end of round number 3. The most dynamic boxing that we have seen here entirely all night. Joe, the Fighting Irishman, Fitzpatrick, laying in a bevy of 1-2 shots into the body and the face of Sean Powell. Running to the left nose. Sean Powell, of course, answering with many shots of his own, driving the Fighting Irishman all the way back into his own corner. 3 tremendous rounds of boxing right here at the Holiday Inn.
Did Sean Powell answer there at the end of that round?
Oh, brother, did he ever answer. He had a 1-2 combination that would just beat the band. And the Fighting Irishman knew that Sean Powell had not left the ring yet.
The referee went over and told Powell there's a couple shots after the bell was rung there, and he probably went over and told him, hey there, you can't be doing that now.
Well, I guess when you get into the mood of the thing, it's a little tough to quit.
The crowd level was so loud and you could barely hear that bell ring. It could be difficult to run when you're that focused when you got a fight going on.
And we are eagerly awaiting round number 4 as it begins. And of course, the Fighting Irishman coming out, starting off with the left jabs, and Sean Powell will have nothing of it. Automatically into the right hooks to the body, and the Fighting Irishman answering back, going into the center ring. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, Sean Powell, his nose is bloodied. A lot more movement, a lot more dance from Sean Powell and the Fighting Irishman.
Fitzpatrick still seems to have the energy working.
Both fighters still light on their feet at round number 4.
Powell's throwing a lot of empty punches right now, too.
And if you'll notice, he's losing his balance just a tiny bit. On that left uppercut, he lost his balance a bit. Blood is still flowing from the nose of Sean Powell, but that is not stopping him. He's doing the 1-2 combinations on Joe Fitzpatrick. And of course, they're working, backing him up occasionally, not only into his own corner, but against the ropes, where Sean Powell can deliver those very lethal 1-2 shots.
You know, if Fitzpatrick can slow this fight down, Powell's going to feel a lot more tired. He's going to feel tired rather than if he's going right at him.
Good combination by Sean Powell, connected right to the jaw of the Fighting Irishman, locked him back, and he's following up. The Fighting Irishman is against the ropes. Sean Powell, of course, going in for the kill, giving a combination of 1-2, 1-2 to the body and to the head. Referee Tony Wolf, of course, breaking the clinch, and both fighters back at it once again.
You know, it's hard to say how much of these shots are getting to Fitzpatrick. It's really hard to say.
Both fighters are very well conditioned to last this kind of a pounding.
You know, I think Powell's he's got to do it soon. If he's going to make a move right now, Fitzpatrick, he's got to do it soon because he's not going to be able to do it in the later rounds.
Yeah, I think you're right, Frank. He's losing a little bit of his steam. He's getting a little bit more flat on his feet.
Oh, that was a shot.
Good answering with some left and right combinations, and of course the Fighting Irishman feels it, backing up from that shot from Sean Powell, Schenectady, New York. Sean Powell, of course, leading in with a right uppercut to a left hook, clinching when he senses that he's getting in trouble, so referee Tony Wolf can break it up and break the momentum of the attack or counterattack from Joe Fitzpatrick. Sean Powell now backing Joe Fitzpatrick into his own corner against the ropes. Joe Fitzpatrick answering quite effectively, pounding Sean Powell in the combinations of 1 and 2. Fitzpatrick, of course, backing up only briefly to let referee Tony Wolf come in.
Powell's definitely hurt. Powell's hurt. Powell wants to take a walk. He's hurt.
Sean Powell is wobbly on his feet.
He needs to walk around some more.
He needs to break this momentum and back up from the constant pounding of Joe Fitzpatrick.
Oh, that was a shot. Powell laid right into Fitzpatrick with a left jab.
And that is the end of round number 4. And the crowd here, ladies and gentlemen, of the Holiday Inn is going wild. They know tremendous boxing when they see it.
You know, Sean Powell landed a left jab right into the face of Fitzpatrick, and it definitely had an effect, and that's the last shot that you're taking before you're sitting down for a break.
Well, Michael Sheldon sitting ringside with Frank Schofield. Ladies and gentlemen, if we were to score this fight right now and determine who is the winner at this point, Frank, I don't think I could do it.
I don't think you could, and especially since Powell came up as big as he did in that last round.
I thought for sure as soon as the Fighting Irishman went in and drew blood from the left nostril of Sean Powell, that certainly that was going to start the momentum to bring Sean Powell down into the canvas of the squared circle. But no way, Sean Powell answered quite effectively and quite often.
You know, it's always a mental break when there's blood. Both fighters know what's going on, and it could go either way from there. Either it's an advantage or a disadvantage to either fighter.
We've got 10 seconds to the start of round number 5, and here we go. And here we start round number 5. And Sean Powell, of course, bleeding from that left nostril. It seems that the cornermen cannot stop that bleeding. And Joe Fitzpatrick knows that. He's moving in already with a couple of shots from the left jab, right hook, concentrating on that nose and facial area.
Powell was hurt at the end of that last round, so you think Fitzpatrick has to go for him now. He's going to have to make some moves.
Those body shots of the Fighting Irishman certainly took its toll on Sean Powell. When he went into his corner, you could see Sean Powell doubling over. He knew that he was hit, and he was hit hard, and it was just a matter of time if he sustained that kind of momentum that he was going to go down.
They're just eyeing each other up, pacing themselves right now.
A little bit of a wide swing there from Sean Powell. You might think that he's tired at this particular point, but this fighter is surprising everybody, not only at ringside, but in the audience as well. When Sean Powell looks like he's tired, he delivers a couple of great shots to the Fighting Irishman.
Fitzpatrick landed a right cross that really caught Powell off guard.
And Sean Powell is answering with a combination of his own 1, 2, 3, 4 to the face and body area, driving Joe, the Fighting Irishman, Fitzpatrick, back into the ropes. Both fighters, of course, moving out to the center ring now.
At what point of this round are these fighters going to think, okay, we're going to go in the 6th round and see what happens?
Well, I don't know.
Do they pace themselves and pull back, or do you go full throttle now?
Part of that is a strategy. Of course, they do have one more round to go. The momentum of the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round certainly would tire them out. And at this round, if I were up there, I would want to take a breather.
Sure.
I would probably be asking for a chaise lounge. Hey, can you wait on for a minute? I want to sit down here and relax. Get me a beer. But these fighters they're just tremendous fighters here for the 5 rounds that they've been taking this pounding on each other. Both fighters, of course, keeping the clinching to a minimum.
Powell's been connected. And that's what's going to count in scoring points.
Joe Fitzpatrick, and when he does his 1-2 combinations, if you'll notice, he's throwing his shoulders into that. It gives his punch a little bit more momentum and a little bit more power. And I think that's what hurts Sean Powell. Sean Powell, of course, back on the ropes. Joe Fitzpatrick backing him in and giving effective body shots, concentrating not only on the stomach area that works so well in round number 4, but also on that nose bleeding that seems to be prevalent now. Sean Powell is not having anything of it, though, ladies and gentlemen. Sean Powell is answering with combinations of his own, left and right, and that is the end of round number 5, and the crowd really shows its appreciation.
You know it, baby. We're going into 6.
This is not a boxing match, Frank Schofield. This is a war.
They're throwing. They showed up to dance, and dancing they are.
I don't know about you, but I'm staying home for this number.
So if you're in Sean Fitzpatrick's corner, Joe Fitzpatrick's corner, what are you saying to him right now?
Right now, I'd be telling Joe Fitzpatrick, concentrate on the body, because it looks like you're weakening his stomach. You weakened it in round number 3. You got a good couple shots in round number 4. And definitely concentrate on that nose. You hit the nose and you start making that nose bleed. Of course, you blur the vision a little bit more. It gets in your way. It interferes with your breathing because of the mouthpiece.
You know, point-wise, this fight could be deceiving.
Very deceiving.
You could think that Fitzpatrick's in control of the way, but you know, Sean Powell, he's been a very busy fighter tonight.
Absolutely, Frank. At this point, I don't think we can still score who's the winner.
No.
And both fighters come out for the beginning of round number 6. Touch gloves, of course, in a great form of sportsmanship. That's one thing. That's the beauty about this sport, ladies and gentlemen, is that the sportsmanship and the professionalism between the combatants has not diminished over the years. They know they're in there to do a job. They do their job, and they part friends. Mutual respect for both fighters' talents, win or lose. Sean Powell, of course, going after that nose and the stomach area of Joe Fitzpatrick. And Joe Fitzpatrick responding likewise. A little bit of swelling under the right eye of Joe Fitzpatrick. Perhaps some of those uppercuts that Sean Powell has been delivering in the 4th and 5th round are now beginning to take their toll.
They are taking their toll. I know you'd think you'd see a flurry here, but both fighters are just kind of pacing themselves.
And quite well. I would think for the last minute you're going to see some tremendous punching from both fighters. And that bleeding from Sean Powell's nose just won't stop. His cornerman hasn't been able to stop that bleeding, so that might be a factor in the last minute or so of punches from Joe, the Fighting Irishman, Fitzpatrick.
Like I said earlier, scoring-wise, it doesn't look like... It looks doubtful you're going to see any major... I won't say that yet.
Well, I'll tell you, if there was a tactic, that should not have been it. Sean Powell backed into the corner and literally invited Joe Fitzpatrick by dropping his hands to come and get him. And Joe Fitzpatrick did exactly that. Walked into the corner. And Sean Powell is in trouble. Goes Joe Fitzpatrick. Blood coming from the nose of Joe Fitzpatrick now. Sean Powell swelling over his left cheek. Both fighters going after each other. Sean Powell once again backing into the corner to take the pounding from Joe Fitzpatrick. Both fighters are getting weak on their feet. Sean Powell leaning against the rope. Joe Fitzpatrick sensing that he's that close to the win.
He's giving him everything he's got.
Sean Powell is not giving up. If you want boxing at its best, this one is it. Sean Powell's tired now.
Yeah, he wants this over now.
I don't blame him.
Yeah,
I would
he's
too.
waiting for that bell.
Both of them are giving and getting quite a beating.
He's got to score points right now. He just has to start unloading, scoring points.
That was a good connection by Joe Fitzpatrick to the jaw of Sean Powell. Rocked him a little bit, but Sean Powell answered and moved off the ropes. Both fighters now moving to center ring. Sean Powell getting tired, dropping his hands, being a little bit more flat-footed. Once again taking position on the ropes.
Fitzpatrick could put him out.
Pummeled by Joe Fitzpatrick once again.
No energy. No energy.
Uppercuts, ladies and gentlemen, lefts and rights. One fighter exchanges, the other fighter exchanges. It's a flurry. Joe Fitzpatrick breathing profusely, and the crowd gives him a standing ovation. Both fighters receiving a standing ovation for 6 rounds of dynamic boxing. These little 128-pounders came out and showed us what real boxing is all about.
You know, either way, when this announcement is read, you're going to hear some reaction out of this crowd.
Absolutely.
Either way.
And let's move ringside now up into the ring to check out what that announcement is from ring announcer John Paul Schaefer. Wow.
Judge Battle scores this Powell 57, Fitzpatrick 57. Judge Flasser scores this fight Powell 60, Fitzpatrick 54. Judge Heidelball scores this fight 59 to 55. Your winner by majority decision, Sean Powell.
Sean Powell, when we saw you come out originally at the first round and second round, your arms were a little bit open. Was that a strategy that you had in order to take on this fighter?
Well, I was, the way I've been training and stuff's a little bit odd, and, I was trying to lure him in because I heard that, he's going to come at me, and I figure, by having my hands open now, I lure him a little faster than I wanted him to. And by the time I got him inside, that's where I did my work.
When he drew blood on your left nostril a little bit early in the fight, did that have anything to do with your mental attitude? Did that make you a little bit more determined to come back at him that much harder?
Well, actually, it had everything to do with it because I've been fighting for 15 years. My nose has never bled before. And once I started seeing the blood, it's like, I either got to knock this guy out or I'm going to lose on the decision because the face looks too bad. But as you can see, I pulled it out.
Dynamic fight. Congratulations. It was a great win on your